Good morning, everyone. My name is Tabita. As most of you know, I teach maths grade 6. So today we are looking at a new topic. Last week we were doing decimals. So this week we will be looking at fractions and all types of fractions. Do bear with me. I feel a little bit fluish, but I hope that my voice will not fail me throughout the lesson. All right, so this is what I would like you to know by the end of this lesson. All right, I would like you to be able to know how to simplify fractions. Should be able to know the difference between proper and improper fractions. All right, the like and unlike fractions, you will get to know that tomorrow. By the end of this lesson, I will give you a glimpse of what it looks like, and then tomorrow we'll go into details. Okay. So what are fractions? Fractions are for counting part of something. We use fractions to count a part of something. All right. I'll show you the example just now. All right. Loosely speaking, a fraction is a quantity that cannot be represented by a whole number. A fraction is a number that can represent a part of a whole. Right? It cannot be represented by a whole number. It is a number that can represent a part of a whole. Okay. So what type of fractions do we have? We have proper fractions and improper fractions, which is the ones that we'll look at today. We have mixed fractions, like and unlike fractions, unit fractions and whole fractions, equivalent fractions, or common fractions. We also have decimal fractions. I wanted to start with decimal fractions today, and then I thought, no, let me start from the beginning. All right. Okay, so how do we know that two fractions are the same? Right, we will be looking at reducing fractions. So how do we know that two fractions are the same? Right, we cannot tell whether two fractions are the same until we reduce them to their lowest terms. If fraction is in its lowest terms, if we cannot find a whole number other than one that can divide into both its numerator and denominator. Right, so here's an example. 6 over 10 is a fraction. Right, 6 over 10 is a fraction. 6 over 10 is not reduced because 2 can divide into both 6 and 10. So if you divide 6 over 10 by 2, you will be able to have 3 over 5. Right? 35 over 40 is not reduced because 5 divides into both 35 and 40, which will be 7 over 8. All right, so there's more examples. We have 110 over 260. Also is not reduced because 10 can divide into both 110 and 260. Now we have 8 over 15, which can be reduced, and 11 over 23 is also reduced. To find out whether two fractions are equal, we need to reduce them to their lowest term. That you must be able to keep in your mind. All right, do keep it in your mind that to find out whether the fractions are equal, you'll be given two fractions, right, with two different numbers. However, you'll be asked a question whether the fractions are the same or not, right? For you to be able to know whether they are the same or not, you need to reduce them. This is what we call simplifying fractions. Okay, so here you are given 14 over 21 and 30 over 45. And the question is, are they equal? Is 14 over 21 and 30 over 45 equal? Right? So we look at 14 over 21 and we reduce 14 over 21. We can see that we can be able to divide by 7, both 14 and 21, and we are left with 2. If you divide 14 by 7, you'll be left with 2. If you divide 21 by 7, you'll be left with 3. Or you ask yourself, how many times does 7 go into 14? It goes 2 times. How many times does 7 go to 21? It goes 3 times. And you have 2 over 3, right? You have simplified it, or you have reduced 14 over 21. Now we look at 30 over 45, right? We look at 30 over 45. Okay, so we first reduce 30 over 45 by dividing it by 5, right? So you say, how many times does 5 go into 30? It goes 6 times. How many times does 5 go into 45? It goes 9 times. Okay, now I have 6 over 9. What number can I also use to reduce? Can I be able to reduce it more? All right, what number will go into both 6 and 9? Will 2 go into 9? No. Will 3 go into 9? Yes, it will go 3 times, and it will go 2 times on 6. Right, so let's reduce it. 6 divided by 3, you are left with 2. 9 divided by 3, you are left with 3. Therefore, your fraction is 2 over 3. Now we are able to say, oh, okay, 14 over 21 and 30 over 45 are equal because we have reduced the fractions. We have reduced both these fractions. Also, you can be able to reduce 30 over 45 by dividing by 15. If you know your multiples, again, multiples are very important. If you know your multiples again of 15, you'll be able to see that, okay, 15 goes into 30 2 times, right? Now, okay, you write 2. 15 goes into 45 3 times, and then you write there 2 over 3. That is the simplest way to reduce 30 over 45 if you know your multiples. However, you can use this route, which is a bit longer, but it will give you the correct answer. Okay, so now we know that these two fractions are equally the same, or sorry, are actually the same, equally the same. They are actually the same. Okay, so that is how we simplify fractions. Okay, so here's another example. We have 24 over 40 and 30 over 42. We want to know if these two fractions are equal. All right, so we reduce or we simplify 24 over 40. Right, so we look at the number that will be able to divide both the numerator or the denominator. The number on top is the numerator, and the number at the bottom is called the denominator. All right, so we look at 24 divided by 2, we have 12. 40 divided by 2, we have 20. Okay, we are able to reduce it further down. We divide both numbers, which is the numerator and the denominator, by 4. We divide 12 by 4, we are left with 3. We divide 20 by 4, and we are left with 5. So our fraction of simplified fraction is 5 over 3. Okay, all right, now we're looking at 30 over 42. Right, 30 over 42, right, we reduce it by dividing it by 6. Right, now we know 6 goes into 30 5 times, and also 6 goes into 42 7 times. So the simplified fraction of 30 over 42 is 5/7. So now we see here there's a difference. Oh, okay, these two fractions are not equal, or rather they are not the same. All right, so these two fractions are not the same. Okay, all right, so here we'll look at improper fractions and mixed numbers. All right, an improper fraction is a fraction with the numerator larger than or equal to the denominator. All right, any whole number. Okay, if you're looking here, we have 5/3. That is an improper fraction. 5/3, it is a numerator larger than the denominator, which is 3. So if you see a number that is on top and that which is bigger than the number that is at the bottom, which is the denominator, immediately you must be able to know that it is an improper fraction. All right. Any whole number can be transformed into an improper fraction. Any whole number can be transformed into an improper fraction. All right, let me see. Please see where you want to ask the question. I see you raising your hand. I just want to quickly check the chat box. I don't know why I don't have access to that. You can write whatever you want to ask on the chat box, Tilisius, and I'll be able to answer that. I don't know why my screen is not allowing me to see. Okay. All right, so here we have 4, right? This is to explain why we are saying any whole number can be transformed into an improper fraction, right? So here we have 4. And we know that any number that is divided by 1 remains itself, right? So for us to transform 4 into an improper fraction, we divide by 1. So 4 is equal to 4/1, right? 4 is equal to 4/1, and this is an improper fraction because the numerator is bigger than the denominator, right? Also, 1 is equal to 7 divided by 7. Also remember, any number that is divided by itself equals to 1. Any number that is divided by itself equals to 1, right? So we have here 7/7. Okay, and we continue going to a mixed number is a whole number and a fraction together. A mixed number is a whole number and a fraction together. Here's this explanation. We have here 2, which is a whole number, and we have 3/7. 3/7, we have 2, which is a whole number, and 3/7. So this is a mixed number with a whole number and a fraction. All right. So an improper fraction can be converted into a mixed number and vice versa. All right. Let me quickly check on the chat box if there's any questions before I continue. All right, I see. Okay, if you are late, you don't have to worry. You will always be able to get the session online. Okay. All right. What is vice versa? It means you can do it the other way around as well. Okay. When you say vice versa, whatever you started with, you can end with, or whatever you ended with, you can start with to still give you the same result. right? All right. Now converting improper fractions into mixed numbers, right? You divide the numerator by the denominator, right? So the quotient is the leading number. Quotient is the leading number. The remainder is the new numerator. All right, so here we have 5 over 3, which is an improper fraction, right? Okay, so how did we get 5 over 3? Okay, so here we have 1 is equal to 2 over 3. How is that possible? Okay, this is how you do it. 5 divided by 3, right? How many times does 3 go into 5? It goes 1, right? You write your 1 as a whole number. How many times does 3 go into 5? It goes 1. Sorry about that. It goes 1, so you write your 1 there as a whole number. And what is the remainder? It is 2. You write it as your numerator and you keep the 3 as the denominator, right? Divide the numerator by the denominator, which is what we've just done. How many times does 3 go into 5? Goes once. So the quotient is the leading number, and we have 1 here, so we write the number 1. The remainder is the new numerator. So the remainder, as we said, is 2, and we keep the denominator as 3, right? So that's why you convert improper to a mixed number. All right, here's some more examples. We have here 7 over 4, right? So we ask ourselves, how many times does 4 goes into 7? Okay, once, it goes once. And what is the remainder? It is 3. So we write 3 as the numerator and we keep 4 as the denominator, right? Here's another one, 11 over 5. Right, you ask yourself, how many times does 5 go into 11? It goes 2 times, right? Because 5 times 2 is 10, right? So what is the remainder? It will be 1. So you write 2, which is the whole number. You write 2, which is the whole number. And also you write 1, which is the remainder, as your new numerator over 5. That's how you convert improper fractions to mixed numbers, right? So here converting mixed numbers into improper fraction. This is what we meant by vice versa. The person was asking, I think it was Natimba. So here is an example of the vice versa that we were talking about earlier. All right. We first worked with improper fractions, converting them to mixed numbers. So now we are converting mixed numbers to improper fractions, right? So here we have 2, which is a whole number, and 3 over 7. So how do we get this mixed number to be an improper fraction? Okay, so this is what we do. We multiply 7 by 2, and we have 14, and you add the numerator. You add the numerator. You say 7 multiplied by 2 plus 3. So you have 14. 14 plus 3 is equal to 17. And you keep your denominator, which is 7. So your number will be, your improper fraction will be 17 over 7. Okay. All right. So here is now your turn to simplify the fractions. Remember, I first showed you how to reduce them. I showed you how to reduce a fraction. So that's what we call simplifying the fraction. So we are going to do this together. We're going to start with 1, 2, 3, but we'll do it together. Okay? So please write on the chat box, how do we simplify, or rather, if you will not be able to write the fraction, just write the number that we will use to simplify, or rather to divide the fraction that will give us the simplified fraction. Okay, so the first one we have 4 over 8. We have 4 over 8. To what number can we simplify 4 over 8? To what number can we simplify 4 over 8? So I'm looking for answers. Okay, my chat box, I don't know why it's not popping up on my screen. Okay, I'm having a problem with the chat box. So I think let's rather do this together, because I don't know why it's not popping up on my side so that I can be able to see your answers. All right, so the first one, which is 8 divided by 4, will be 2 over 4. And then we move to 1 over 2. Right, we'll use the first one, we'll use 2, we'll divide by 2, because 2, you see that 2 can be a divisor for both 4 and 8. So if you divide 4 by 2, you'll have 2. If you divide 8 by 2, you'll have 4. So the first simplified number will be 2 over 4. And you move further to divide by 2 again. 2 divided by 2 will be 1, and 2 divided by 4 will be 2. So you will have 1 over 2, which is a half. Okay, but please do write on the chat box. It might just pop up. It might just pop up on my screen. I don't know why it's not popping up now. So the second one is 3 over 15. 3 over 15. All right, what number can divide both the numerator and denominator? It is 3. All right, 3, therefore 3 goes into 3 ones. Right, we'll have 1 as the numerator. 3 goes into 15 5 times. All right, so we'll have 1 over 5. Second one will be 1 over 5. Right, so 9 over 15. We'll use 3 again, because 3 can be divided. Sorry, 3 can divide 9 and 15, so we'll have 3 over 5. Simplified answer will be 3 over 5. All right, we move on to number 4. We have 24 over 30. Okay, so here we can use 6 as a divisor. We can use 6 as a divisor. All right, how many times does 6 go into 24? Right, it goes 4 times. And how many times does 6 go into 30? It goes 5 times. Right, so we'll have 4 over 5. Here on number 4, we'll have 4 over 5. Right, also number 5, we have 18 over 30. We have 18 over 30. Okay, I think this is going to be, I'm going to do up to number 4, and the rest simply because I cannot be able to view the chat box. So I will leave the rest from, all right, I'll do right up to number 6. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 will be your homework. Okay, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 will be your homework. Then I'll move on with the lesson. All right, so we have 18 over 30. We'll also use 6. All right, 6 goes into 18 how many times? 3 times. And 6 goes into 30 how many times? 5 times. So we'll have um, 3 over 5. Right, for number 5 we'll have 3 over 5. All right, and here we have 4 divided by 12, and we'll use 4 as a divisor. 4 goes into 4 once, and 4 goes into 12 3 times. So the answer will be 1 over 3. Okay, so simply because I'm unable to open the chat box, so number 7 right to 12 will be your homework. Okay, I'm moving on to the next slide. Okay, so here we're still simplifying. All right, the first one is 6 over 12. All right, we can use 2 as a divisor, or 3 as a divisor, or 6 as a divisor, as 2, 3, and 6 are multiples of both 12 and 6, right? So we'll take 6. So 6 goes into 6 once, and 6 goes into 12 twice. So we have 1 over 2. As our fraction, we have 1 over 2. Right, we move on to the next one. We have 2 over 8. And here we'll use 2 as a divisor. All right, so we'll say 2 goes into 2 once. So we'll have 1 as the numerator, and 2 goes into 8 4 times, and we'll have 4 as the denominator. We'll have 1 over 4 as our answer, right? So we'll have here 12 over 36. 12 over 36, right? We'll look at the multiples of, or rather the factors of 12 and 36. We know that 3, we can use 2, we can use 3, 6, and 12, right? But um, let's start with, say for example, with 6. We know that 6 goes into 12 how many times? 2 times, right? So we'll write 2. And we know that 6 goes into 36 6 times, right? So we have 6 over 2, right? Then we divide again our 6, sorry, about 2 over 6 by 2. Divide by 2. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 6 3 times. So we have 1 over 3. Or we can just go straight to, by dividing by 12, and we say 12 divided by 12 is 1. 36 divided by 12 is 3. So we have 1 over 3. Okay. And then we move to the fourth one. Again, I'm going to do this up to number 6. And then 7 to 12 will be your homework, or will be your practice. Will be your practice session. This one from 7 to 12, you will have to practice on your own. Okay. So number 4, we have 4 over 20. We'll use straight 4 there. All right, we know 4 goes into 4 once, and we know 4 goes into 25 times. So we'll have 1 over 5. We'll use the divisor as 4. So we'll have 1 over 5. All right. So we have 3 on number 5. We have 3 over 12. We have 3 over 12. All right. We'll use 3 as the divisor. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. So our answer will be 1 over 4. Okay. So we move on to number 6. All right. Number 6, we have 2 over 6. Right. We'll divide this straight by 2. 2 divided by 2 equals to 1, and 6 divided by 2 equals 3. So our simplified fraction will be 1 over 3. Okay, it will be 1 over 3. Right? I don't know why today we can't have an interaction. Okay, but let me continue. All right. Okay, this is what I mentioned earlier, that I will show you what like and unlike fractions look like. But we will go in detail tomorrow. Okay, we'll go in detail tomorrow. So I want you to tonight or after your sessions today, do your homework, right? On the previous slides, the 2 slides, do your homework from 7 to 12. That is your practice session because we are unable to interact now. So please do practice those fractions. Do practice simplifying fractions. All right. So here on the screen we have like and unlike fractions. All right. But this is what I want you to look at after you've done your homework, because tomorrow we will look into it in more detail. All right. So here we have 4 blocks. If you still remember the patterns, they also that we did earlier, I think 3 weeks back. If you still remember those, they were also a way of showing us fractions, right? So here we have 4 blocks. We have 3 white and we have 1 green, right? So we have a total of 4 blocks, and that is the denominator, and the 1 colored green block is the numerator. Okay, so we have 1 over 4, right? Out of the 4 blocks, we have 1 green, right? We move on. Okay, we have now 4 blocks, and in these 4 blocks, we have 2 white and 2 green. All right, so the denominator is 4, the total number of blocks, and the highlighted one greens will be our numerator, which is 2. Right, move on, and we have 4 blocks again, 1 white and 3 green. So our fraction will be 3 over 4. So here we have the same denominators. We have 4, 4, 4. So we have the same denominators, and this makes it like fraction, right? When you have the same denominator, it makes those fractions like fractions, right? Now looking at unlike fractions, right? Unlike fractions, here um, we have a circle that has 2 sides, 1 white, 1 pink. So it is 1 over 2, right? 1 over 2. And here, still a circle, but we are now divided into 3. And we have 2 colored pink. So the numerator will be 2. And the total number is 3, right? Because it has 3 parts, right? And here it has 4 parts and 3 colored in pink, and then 3 will be our numerator and 4 will be our denominator. All right, so what we notice here with this one is that we have different denominators, and it makes these unlike fractions. All right. So this is the end of our session today. This is the end of our session. Please do your homework and look into like and unlike terms for tomorrow's lesson. All right. You can always go into YouTube for those who were late. You can go to YouTube. You'll be able to find this session there. And also you can go to Africa Team Geeks website and you'll be able to get the lesson there. Thank you so much for joining us and do enjoy the rest of your day. And that's it from me. Or if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Email address is abonkolo@gmail.com.
Teacher, sorry, just before you go, could you please put up the slides with the children's homework again?
I can hardly hear.
Teacher, sorry, can you
Yes,
hear me now? Can you please put up the slides with the learners' homework again?
I can hardly hear you. Do you mind speaking closer to your mic?
Okay, can you please put the slides up with the learners' homework again?
Oh, you want me to put the slides with the homework?
Yes, please, ma'am.
These are the two slides with the homework where we're simplifying fractions. But for one to get these slides, they can always go to YouTube. This session is on YouTube already. So this one from number 7 to number 12 is their homework. And also on this slide, from 7 to 12 will be the homework for them to be able to practice simplifying fractions. This is on YouTube. You can just go to that link or rather go to YouTube and search for today's lesson, which is proper and improper fractions. You'll be able to find it on YouTube. All right, so that's it from my side. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope to see you again tomorrow. Do enjoy the rest of your day.